coronavirus has helped the earth, or like with pollution and greenhouse gases are going down?
Um, yes and no. We are not exactly optimistic about everything that we're seeing when it comes to the articles coming out, things like that. Yes, it's fantastic that we're seeing a reduction in pollution as everyone's staying home, but it's already being reported that as China released their stay-at-home orders, the pollution bounced right back.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the worry, is that we're not developing a sustainable method to move forward and grow. Is they're trying to take us right back to the same old status quo, which is just as bad. But on top of that, the EPA is working on removing 95 regulations in the time being, including mercury waste, nuclear waste, waste from oil refineries. Oil refineries are getting breaks. They're getting breaks or they're changing regulations on how much they can emit into the air. Um, so I would like to say this would be positive, and we would like to think that, we're the problem, but we're also not the problem. We're at home, we're using electronics more, which means we're using more power. But if we're not using renewable energy, what are we using? We're using coal, we're using natural gas. So it's a shift. I don't think that it's necessary. I think it's better and worse for the environment, depending on what we're doing now and how we're going to move forward with this pandemic and what happens. Because if we go back to the same thing, and with all those EPA regulations going through or being removed, we're looking at a worse world, honestly.
Hmm.
But if we were to encourage more solar panels to make up for all of the increased electricity usage that we're going through, maybe that could make a difference. So it's kind of a wait until moment right now, unfortunately, but hopefully we can reform what we're doing so that we can move forward in a positive way for the environment.
Yeah, because like I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was like, I feel like when all of this is over, we're gonna go back to our old habits,
Exactly.
and it's not like this isn't gonna last forever. So I
Right.
feel, yeah.
Right.
That's
Totally.
um. Well, I guess I answered the question, but what are ways we can help the environment and keeping up with how like the Earth is doing right now? What are some sustainable methods we could use?
Totally. So Heal has been working on a blog, as well as like all of the content we're posting, kind of themed under unplugging. Yes, we're required to like be on screens more, instead of these in-person meetings and things like that. But we need to unplug and think about how our actions are if we want to see a change in the future. So we talked about like, okay, when you charge all your electronics, charge them, unplug them, drain them so they're not just sitting drawing a little bit of energy the whole time. Turn off your lights and see how long and how much you can actually function without having lights on. I also want to encourage people to grow a garden during this time. When we think about not only our food waste and everything that comes from the waste, but also the amount of pollution that comes from growing and transporting all of our produce to us, it's phenomenal. So I really want to encourage people to really look into gardening, not only their own food, but look into maybe getting a new tree planted in their yard while they're home, planting some other greenery, or desert, making their yard more desert friendly so that you're not drawing a lot of water while you're sitting at home. Um, and I also want to encourage people to consider bulk shopping when you can, with reusable containers. I know it's not accessible everywhere, but when you do have an option to bring your own container and refill that, that saves not only on money, but on so much waste right now. And a lot of the stores are trying to stay open for that option. So I want people, because these are all things that are right now, but they're going to make a great shift and change for yourself in the future as well. Um, and I think the one last thing would be, it's great to support local restaurants right now, especially with everything going on. However, with the amount of waste that's coming from the to-go containers, and that's all ending up in the garbage because none of that is recyclable. I want to encourage people to maybe look into getting a gift card so that when everything is reopened, you already have your dinner paid for, you can go sit down and enjoy it. Or that way, if you really do break down and you need to go get some takeout, you have your card ready to go. But I so people eat so if you can eat at home when you can, I know I do the same thing. I get tired of eating the same thing over and over again, but try to limit your takeout even now because it's just all ending up in the garbage, or just continuing a process. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your time today.